going? Currently, I'm here where my significant other has been being dog walked, if you know, you know, for approximately the last, I would say, 5 to 6 hours. My GPS has not been permitted to be used the majority of the day, or was sending me in circles around and around and around. My energy was taken over a number of times through no fault or control of my own. And the previous higher authority, who said that once a human being has awareness of these things, they have to be stopped immediately, is not around, I guess. There's also been several inquiries tonight about where my last MacBook, this is my current MacBook, where my last MacBook is, and I advised them that they should possibly check in with the surveillance team from 2016 to 2019, who was monitoring those phone calls. They would probably have a great idea of where that MacBook is, along with a plethora of other valuable information with regards to the situation. Now, for some reason, I'm trying to unlock this iPhone, because this iPhone, where I'm not in circulation, even though it says I'm live, supposedly it's only getting to certain distinct, intentional persons that I don't have any control over, even though it's my social media, my identity, my likeness, and my character. And this is a decade. This is a full 10 years of this. 10 years. So I'm searching for a USB drive connection to access this cell phone, and my MacBook is saying that there's no USB. So like a dummy, like if I just learned how to use a computer yesterday, despite the fact that, just want to remind you, I single-handedly implemented the electronic medical records at CLSMA, a branch and division of Northwestern Medical Group and Hospital, in 2015, and have a more than average understanding of how to use a computer. I'm not being able to even open applications for my devices on my computer, nor is my computer able to even locate a location or file for a USB drive. But the USB is right here. It's plugged in, right? When I first plugged it in, it launched a download. Now you go to the downloads, nothing. What do we have in the downloads? Heather G resume. That's it. That's the only thing. I haven't downloaded my resume to this computer, I don't think, at all. I don't know how it would be here. And given that it is here, it's not making any sense that I can't recognize or access any of the other drives or applications, etc., from my computer. So now my phone is in this box. My secondary phone that I paid for a full month of service on is not being able to unlock. When I attempt an unlock on the phone, it says that I must reset the entire phone and do a factory reset, which just so happens to be a phone where I have a number of other evidence with regards to the case that I'm working on currently for one of my children. And I can't get into that phone at all. So I said, okay, after a full month of paying for service and not being permitted a single day of use on that phone, I started receiving incoming communication that the unique device indication code associated with my new MacBook is being used in a cloning or remote access format, which is why I'm not being given access and free use of my computer, because someone external to my situation is using my actual operating system remotely. Exhausted. The last 2 days, I've probably had 3 hours of sleep. Haven't been permitted to work my shift. Have bills to pay and children to feed. Not to mention my own needs. Very confused, very frustrated. And I can't get Xavier to move around without this very checked out kind of external identity. It's not making sense. This is like something that you would see taking place in like an FX, series, or like a sci-fi, movie. I don't understand how this is real life. And just for the record, I have not been asked, do you want to be an actress? Do you want to film some scenes in a movie? Nothing like that. So this is weird. And then when you go back to just yesterday when we were covered in smog and there was a dense air unsafe air quality alert. This is July, I believe. What is this, the 16th or the 17th? 17th, 2026. We're in Chicago. I have photos of this. The air was so thick you could not see above maybe floor 20 of any of the skyscrapers. There were warnings all over the buildings saying caution, air quality. Everyone started wearing masks again. But now today, and the city was like empty, but now today, there is so much traffic, you cannot even stop moving for a moment without someone beeping or flashing their lights at you. There are people in the bike lane, skating, riding bikes, riding scooters, jogging. It's like complete chaos all over the place. And it's been about 6 hours since I've been able to have any sort of meaningful check-in with Xavier. He seems completely externally controlled, completely. And I still have these lines and this voice box that I've been reporting for approximately 3 months. So that's what's going on with me. What's going on with you guys? I'm hungry. Yesterday I had some white rice and a cucumber salad from Silver Spoon Thai. Today I've been trying to get to the bank for the last I don't know how many hours so that I could purchase myself a meal. I haven't been able to have a meal today. I've had one of those protein boxes with the little like piece of bread, the round piece of bread, and the little packet of honey PB, and probably 7 grapes, maybe 3 apple slices, probably a grand total of about, I would say, 200 to 300 calories. I'm 5'9", 123 pounds approximately. My ribs are like starting to protrude from the side of my body. And I have been documenting this inability to eat. If Xavier brings food, they start coming at me, OTL, saying that I'm allowing Xavier to get food from some sort of deceptive practice that I have absolutely no knowledge or control over. And all in all, it's been a very daunting set of circumstances, to say the least. When I went to my physician last month, I've been checking in with my physician every 30 days for purposes of keeping the record straight, etc., and so forth. And when I went to him, I don't know if it was the last month or the month before, he looked at me and said, "Are you actually taking the medication that I prescribed to you?" As if there were some giant secret about ineffectiveness or like some big joke, that I'm the odd man out of, trying to understand what is going on here. And then bits and pieces of perceived truth. Do you hear how low my voice is right now? My voice doesn't sound like this compared to any of my other videos. And there's like this visible, you could touch it, something that moves and makes like a creaking. It's awful. It's awful. And today I can't even get into it. I won't even get into it. But I was just completely blown away by the extreme lack of consideration and compassion for not only myself, but also Xavier. I've told you guys what I've been through. Starting at age, 14, I had a lot of turmoil, no criminal record, no history of sexual promiscuity, no drug use. Even with those 3, which are like usually the main 3 measuring factors of whether a child or teenager is deemed to be in some sort of at-risk situation, etc., and so forth. Even in the absence of all of those factors, I still went through things that children in the inner city coming from dangerous areas have not experienced. And it's so unfathomable to me that these resources have been consistently used to take me from stability rather than offer stability to someone who needs it and doesn't have it. I create stability. My family, my parents historically have created stability, routine, structure. And then this energy, this oppression, this external oppression from engaging in any sort of free will just begins to run the show, And I gotta tell you, the things that they're saying to me, they're quite disturbing. You know, they are quite disturbing. So I don't really know what to do. This will be the fourth computer, 2 Chromebooks and 2 MacBooks that I've purchased with the intention of completing my novel, using it for jobs or work, any other cleansing of devices, access of devices that are not being externally controlled, hacked, what have you. And I'm still here, not being permitted to even access the devices application on the computer. And I don't know. I'm going to find her. It's supposed to be right here. It's supposed to be right here on the desktop. If it's not in the desktop, it's supposed to be in the Finder or the Launchpad. It's not in the Launchpad. There's no access to the USB. When I first plugged in the device to the USB, I know. Yes, I'm still using USB instead of C. But when I first plugged in the USB, it immediately launched a download application for my devices. After it loaded, I went to downloads. It's nowhere to be found. It's not on the desktop. It's nowhere. It's literally nowhere. Went to Finder, typed USB, nothing. Went to My Files, nothing. Just nothing. So when I create this content, it's fucking annoying for me. So I know it's annoying for you. I know. It's not for anyone to watch and laugh or, get any sort of comfort. It's for me to be able to document on the record the day and the time of these types of occurrences for the purpose of moving forward and finding solutions to these issues. That's it. That's all I'm ever trying to do. Who would be using my devices remotely? A question I've been asking the authority and other educated individuals for the last 10 years. Still have no answers. So I don't know what needs to happen, for resolution from this, but I definitely don't feel safe. I definitely don't feel comfortable. I definitely don't feel happy. I have a desire to live, as I've said so many other times, but this is just, this is not living, This is, I don't even know what to call it. I went to Target today because I needed to get a wallet, $12 or something along those lines. And there was a person in the restroom next to mine. They have 3 restrooms, women, men, family. There was a person in the family restroom making loud noises as if they were engaging in some sort of sexual contact. So loud that me in the women's, so 3 doors over with big steel doors, the door locked and closed, I was disrupted from my ability to focus on what I was doing, so much so that I had to actually launch a video and make video narrative of me just speaking about anything so that those people could not nefariously claim that I was engaging in some sort of weird, creepy shit. I've been living my life this way for 10 years. They say, I don't remember who said it, but someone said, when you feel like you're in an environment where you're only safe if you have to begin recording, you are in the wrong environment, you need to leave. Well, what do you do when you're in the wrong environment, you need to leave? You're reaching up for assistance. You're verbalizing that you're not in the right environment and that you need to leave, but you can't leave. Invisible fence. Here, the only downloads I have are Tor browser for Mac OS, which I don't have Tor browser on my computer. zoom.pkg, Heather G resume, and references.doc. .docx. Cannot even get the device to load. And when I was working on my novel from my Chromebook and I would be typing, they would be blatantly in my computer sharing my own screen with their mouse moving and erasing things and rearranging things and doing all of this. And I reported all of that, and then they stole that MacBook. And I wish I had a direct line of communication with anyone who understood what I was talking about when I was saying these things, because these things are nothing compared to what they're actually saying 98% of the time. None of this is deceptive. You wouldn't call this deceptive. What better word? Let's restart. Let's try to restart. Maybe after I restart, the download that I already downloaded will be available. Let's see. And isn't it wild that they were just extracting from me several days ago? And when I say extracting, I mean using actual interrogation methods to force memories from my intellectual property into a circulation of awareness in a demographic that I can't even define or name. And they were just doing that. And they were referencing a bunch of things that I really don't know, any in detail information about, but have just enough information for them to want to reference. And they can continue to come to me for all of their needs and force me with no option to say no. Even if I do say no, they just keep going. But then when I need something on my own device with my own resources and my own energy, it's just, there's no way, Makes no sense. And then I don't want to sound like egotistical in thinking that this is just a personal attack against me because of the stalking and all of that. But is anyone else dealing with this? Is there anyone else out there that's being engaged with in this way? Am I the only one? When my son Weston was born, it was told to me directly from Xavier and his line that a world conducive to my ethical and moral belief systems would be built for me. And I went there and it was gorgeous and there was no anything bad. Everything was great. And then they said I was going on the fly. On the fly where? With who? With what budget? And then they said that the individuals that they deemed engaging in these behaviors that they wanted to keep separated from the individuals, and demographic of the population with no knowledge of these behaviors somehow ended up in my world, in my box. So I'm boxed in to only individuals who have been documented and confirmed to want to cause my overall well-being some sort of problems or harm or confusion or slanderous narratives or what have you. And the thing is, even if they are taking all of this out of circulation, when they begin to reconcile, which they will, they always do, it's just, why do I have to wait for that? Why can't they develop a way to have a reconciliation in real time so that I don't have to suffer consequences that aren't mine to own? And the same for anyone else. That would be like if you were walking down the street minding your own business and law enforcement pulled up to you and put you in the car and said, you're under arrest for, we'll call it, what should we call it? You're under arrest for a robbery. And you're like, I didn't rob anyone. What are you talking about? I was just at a public restaurant. There's video of me. Before that, I was on a live for an hour. And before that, I was with friends for the last 5 hours. We were under video surveillance, or we were working on content, or there's a number of witnesses. And they're like, well, that might be true, but what we're going to do is treat you like it's not until we decide whether or not you did it. And then using my device's unique indication code, cybercrimes are being committed, but they say it's fine because they're surveillancing it so they know who does it when they do it. And then randomly, when there's no need for surveillance, they say that there is a need for surveillance because they've curated a bunch of unsafe situations around me that people may deem I'm responsible for when I'm actually entirely not. So just in case, but I can't know what's going on. I can only know that I'm surrounded, by a bunch of individuals who are receiving some sort of financial incentive to be there, whether I like it or not. There was an implication this morning that next to the police station, there were inappropriate sexual behaviors taking place in an elementary school. What the fuck? I don't exist in this demographic. I don't understand how I keep getting here, How do we go from smoky Canada smog or wildfire smoke covering the entire city, no visibility, air quality terrible, everyone's in a mask, to beautiful, bright, sunny day, nothing going on at all, everything looks fine, to 5 minutes after that, so much traffic everywhere you can't even move, every turn takes an extra amount of time, every time you find an opportunity to pull over, suddenly appears a bus stop sign, your husband is missing, some strange man came and brought Xavier a burger and fries today, and I had to sit there and watch him eat, and he didn't even offer me a bite. Do you know that since the day I met Xavier, I have purchased our meals and split it directly down the middle, or bought him the same thing that I had? Since the day we met. And this will be the second meal that I'm watching him. He's eating right now. He's eating McDonald's right now. And I still haven't eaten at all. And Xavier's not that way, ever. He's just standing there, like, eyes glossed over, like a complete stranger, like he doesn't even know me. We've been together 4 years with the son. And they won't let me leave here to go to the bank so that I can get my own food. And who are these strange women walking up to my husband offering him food? And how do these women even know him? He doesn't even have a phone. We're together every day, all day. Literally. How do you explain that? Did you get me something? I just asked him if he got me something, and he literally just started shoving the food down his throat like he has never eaten before. I can't. And they won't let me leave. Never. Xavier didn't contribute a penny. I paid almost $23,000 for one single room to have a roof over our head. Never left him out. If I ate, he ate. Every single time without exception. I don't want a soda. I'm hungry.
Water.
No, thank you. I'm hungry.
Well, you could have got McDonald's.
I don't have any money.
You want this?
What is it?
Double.
Sure. Thanks. Who gave you this?
McDonald's.
Did you spit on it?
No.
Why is it all wet?
I hate you, dude. If you're not gonna eat it, I hate you.
I'm gonna eat it.
I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna put my skirt on and go out. If you don't eat it. So we're not far from there. How to fuck it.
I don't think I've ever been treated so badly by a person who claims to love me in my life. Can you imagine going through everything I went through in 2019 and 20, recording live on Facebook while a person tried to break into my home with my children with me in my custody, standing in the living room, watching in horror as the living room door was attempted to be pried open, calling 911 for help, having it all uploaded to the one Heather GEE account on Instagram, the number one Heather GEE, and being blatantly told by the authority, that didn't happen. You're imagining things. You're hysterical. Meanwhile, there are actual videos of the people doing it on the internet. Just right there, you could see it. You could just click on it and watch it. And we're now in 2026, and I'm being subjected to the same type of treatment, rather than just being tucked away at home somewhere with my children safe and sound and out of all of these people's ways. And I asked Xavier like 30 times, can we please go pick up my money? I'll buy us food. And he's just there, like he's glued to this spot. Like it's sickening. It's what it feels like. And they keep on saying, we put him out so he could be surveillance and see who's there. What does that mean? You just chose someone else's husband, son, daughter, some random individual, and decided, well, who cares about your goals, ambitions, schedule, needs, bills, family? We're going to have you stand on the side of the road drinking cans of beer while you observe what's going on in your immediate surroundings. And even if you want to leave from there, you can't. Sanctions. So it's a premeditated plan to trap people without housing in the street. Now, it's not homelessness as a widespread form of pandemic or social inequality issues that need to be addressed. Now it's actually a premeditated effort to trap people in these circumstances. And then once they decide that that's enough time for Xavier, but since I'm just a string on, Xavier gets to be fed and taken care of and gets good rest and sleep, and I just have to watch. And it's fucking fabulous, isn't it? When they come on the back end of things and communicate that they're going to take care of the situation or what have you. But then it's even better when you find out that they knew on the front end that this situation was going to happen, but they made the conscious decision to sit by and observe your suffering. And then after they deemed that you had suffered enough for the time being, at that point they decided, well, okay, maybe we'll play good cop, bad cop and make it seem like we give a fuck. And then there's random guys coming up to us making the claim that I'm the queen. Me, Heather Gillespie, I'm the queen. That's my queen. What the fuck does that mean? We are in America, in Chicago. We don't have any king or queen. Only in chess. That's all. Chess, the board game. Kings and queens, I don't even think they exist in England anymore. And I'm saying, I don't want to be the queen. What does that even mean? Does that mean you're going to say I owe you money? What the fuck? I don't have any extra. I have nothing right now. I've got a little bit of money to pay my ticket. I have my insurance coming up in 3-4 days. After that, I have my car payment. I have 4 children that I need to support, that I need to send food to and clothes. And, I've been wearing the same, I want to say 8 to maybe like 12 pairs of black leggings for the last 16 months, literally, maybe even 18 months. And I've been coming not only on live, but in other situations saying, but can you just please approve can you just please approve in my budget an opportunity for me to go buy a pair of pants? And they're like, yeah, for sure. We'll do that, right? And so then they curate an opportunity for me to go to Nordstrom, try on the pants, see that the pants fit fabulously, only to then say, well, she can't purchase those pants. Those pants cost $197. But it's good to know that they fit and that Heather has the ability to wear pants if we so choose to allow her to. Something about my every nook and cranny being right at eye level of any individual sitting down while I'm walking in and out of establishments or getting in and out of my vehicle or getting a car wash. Have you ever had to vacuum the floor of your vehicle or someone else's vehicle, or clean the floor in your apartment, or pick up garbage from the lobby of your apartment building or the laundry room for that matter, in a pair of leggings that are like a millimeter thin? And there's other people walking by, and you don't want everyone and their mother to be able to identify you by your genitalia should they need to, right? But what? Why would that be perceived as being an issue? Why? Who doesn't want that? I have been wearing a blazer every single day, not because I think it's a fashion move, but because I feel just exposed at all times, like worse than a bathing suit, I want to wear beautiful clothing. Last night we were discussing, they gave me the free will of discussion from a business perspective. They call it a think tank, okay? And OTL began engaging with me with regards to questions about if I had $1 billion in my bank account right now, what would I do? And I said, or something along those lines. And I said, I would, hold on, I need to grab a wipe. Oh yeah, and that's the best when they start saying that I dress like this to demand authority. Can you guys believe that shit? That I dress like this to demand authority. That I wear the same thing every day because I want to. I dress in the same 8 to 12 pairs of black millimeter thin leggings every single day to demand authority? That's a new one for me. That's a level of understanding I hadn't previously engaged with. Of course he understands that. That's why he did it. And, you know, the saddest part of all is that it doesn't seem like he is the only one that understood it from the beginning. It seems like you all understood it from the beginning, and you just looked the other way for a while. Just long enough to make it my problem or someone else's problem, when it most certainly didn't start out to be our problem at all. But yeah, just so you guys know, if it were my MO to demand authority from anyone, I would be wearing a pantsuit, maybe with a cape on it, or a hood and a cape, and some long sleeves with a nice stiff collar, and a pair of shoes that had the heels still attached to the bottom. Just so that you know what it will look like if I'm ever demanding authority. And I've been attempting to work all day, and it's 11:38, and I'm just, here I am, you know, $55 of gas later. And now I have to go and park somewhere and not have the vehicle on because I use it all day, and wait for them to present a better solution because I am not permitted to create my own solutions anymore. But they had this think tank convo, right, where they're asking, like, what kind of businesses do you think you could start or you could be successful at, or could you recommend? What would you do if you had $1 billion in your bank account? These are real questions that I've been asked over the last, I would say, approximately 2 weeks or so. With the $1 billion question, I said I would invest in a cause, start a business, purchase a home, and find a way to secure and keep safe the rest of the money. With regards to, and then they said, what kind of business would you create? And I said, well, in order to know what will be a successful business in your demographic, from demographic to demographic, the first thing you need to do is establish an understanding of the most 5 to 10 common problems, concerns, desires, / needs. Perfect answer. That's so true. So can I get the $1 billion though? If you think that I would be so amazing at spending the $1 billion and you agree with what I'm saying as being the best possible option for the way the $1 billion should be spent, can I get a deposit, please? And then the other questions, what other businesses, from low level of business, people who are, you know, have no jobs and don't really have any business acumen or understanding. And I'm coming up with all of these ideas as I've been this entire time. And then I'm recollecting all of the business discussions that I had on the phone from 2016 to 2019 that have materialized as successful businesses in my newsfeed since that time. I'm glad that someone, you know, was able to use that information in a way that was productive. I've discussed power washing windows with a drone. The investment of a drone, you can get a drone that will fly to the level of near skyscraper height for approximately $40,000 today on the market, maybe a little less than that. You hire a drone operator, you're washing windows with a drone tomorrow. You could develop a form of autonomy with regards to digital footprint creation and maintenance, subscription services perhaps. You could develop a form of tonal. Have you guys seen tonal? I made a reference to tonal before tonal was even a thing I knew about, where I wanted myself and my husband at that time's identity to be used in a personal training format, but the point was to scale, not in a predatory way. But in a way, more in a sense of, if I create a personal training business, I'm only one person. There's one of me, one Heather, right? What are the chances or likelihoods of success within that business structure if I can only see one client a day or a morning at a time? What if, rather than me personally being the personal trainer, I instead created an application-based software that is a mirror in my likeness that gave personal training to various demographics in their own home, that they could engage with in an AI interactive format for the purpose of, where are you going? Are we leaving?
Yeah, go.
They've been doing that to me all day. They put the audio so close to my eardrum that it literally rattles my nervous system. I jump like six or seven times today, at least, in various forms of bullying. But anyways, I created that idea, and then I saw tonal and other ideas similar. But that idea came from, and I published this in 2018 or 19, and it's still up on my blog, Merciful Storm. There was a concept that I had discussed from my childhood when I was 14 years old, or 15, and I was in Jamaica, and they were utilizing repetitive programming audio to create mindsets and desirable outcomes as they deemed desirable, not necessarily customized to your own personal satisfaction or desires. They're calling Xavier their dog, sending him to run errands and get food and do other things. I don't know who they are. I never see them. But he just goes around and starts gathering crap. And then when I wake up in the morning, it's all gone. But I never see who took it or what's been going on. And no one seems to give a fuck. That's my husband. That's the father of my child. I don't understand what's going on, you know? How do you get to be someone's dog? Human beings are not dogs. And I asked ChatGPT, like, is there some demographic that has some sort of hierarchy or some sort of implied social hierarchy where certain individuals are deemed the dogs of other individuals? ChatGPT said no, that a dog was historically and primarily an animal, a mammal covered in fur that walks on four legs, barks, sometimes named Toto or Fido. So I hope that the content begins to make it to circulation, because this shit is crazy, you know? One thing about me, I can pretty much understand mostly not any, but I would say about 90% of reasonable expectation, even if I don't agree with it. maybe even 95% of reasonable expectation, even if I don't agree with it. But there's no reasonable expectation being communicated. None at all whatsoever. So how can you expect a person to understand or engage with any reasonable expectation for a desirable outcome, not only for the person, but for anyone else that's engaged in reasonable outcome or reasonable causal expectation, if no expectation is ever communicated? It makes no sense at all whatsoever. None at all. And it would be one thing if this was like day one. This is like, I've been trapped in here for a decade on and off. I don't understand what in the fuck is going on. I don't understand. And there is no one, saying this is what's actually, multiple people did say they were referring to this as the simulator, a simulation. What exactly do you mean by that, And then these outbursts, screaming and yelling, and it's terrible. I said non-predatory environments only. Non-predatory environments only. Are we going to turn here?
Straight.
Are we going to turn here?
Follow me.
Xavier doesn't behave this way. I have podcasts with Xavier, hours and hours of audio in conversation with Xavier. His voice doesn't sound like this. The tone, the cadence. He doesn't speak this way. He doesn't communicate this way. I don't understand it. At all. Seems like he has relationships here that I don't know about. And how would that be possible if we are together every day? How do you develop a relationship with any external third party, regardless of gender, sexual orientation, or the context of the relationship, if you don't have any time with that person or individual? What would cause that? What would explain that? And then furthermore, what would prevent anyone from sharing with me an understanding of that behavior? I don't go out. I don't go to nightclubs. I'm grown. Xavier is 41 years old with a 2-year-old child. I am almost 40. What is going on? Why are we trapped here? Aren't there some 17-year-olds or 24-year-olds that would be more, closely aligned with the demographic and mindset? I don't get it. I just don't understand. At all. I keep telling him I would like to go to a safe space. Can we leave now? Please?
What did you just say?
Can we please leave?
Leave where?
Leave here? This area where there are a lot of people outside and...
There's no one. There's fucking no one. Literally. Literally no one.
This is awful.
And I have foodie. I have foodie. So, let me know when you turn that fucking shit off.
The authority promised. They promised no more predatory environments.
Stop. We can have dinner right now, I said. If you turn that shit off. Right in front of Gramophone Records.
She has no way. They cut off her circulation a year ago. I don't know. I have no idea what the fuck is going on. I'm tired.
I worked hard for this. Let's have dinner.
And Xavier's doing this. Remember how I told you guys that I was noticing that intermittently when I sense this on the line thing, these markings and this movable piece of my, I don't even know what, that I start doing intermittently, not all the time, but I start doing this motion like this. Like licking my front teeth. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It's not all the time, and it's not a conscious effort. It just happens. Xavier is having one of those things, but he's going like this with his, like, and I've seen other influencers and celebrities doing both of those motions. Is that programming? Is that, what is that? You know? And then they also start saying on the line really nasty things, like just vulgar things and expectations that are not deemed normal for regular society. You know, like you don't go up to someone and tell them that, you know, if they want to sleep tonight, they have to engage in ... with a random this person or that person. Like it just, this is not conducive to any society or reality that I have ever known to exist. Ever. So. And it's not an enjoyable place, you know? It's like, I've never experienced the city like this ever, and it's just awful. It's absolutely terrible. And I get scared, you know? It scares me a lot because it's like, if this is how it is now, what's it going to be like in 10 years? The boundaries have just been getting pushed back farther and farther and farther. And I try to tell them that, you know, I always try to tell them, think of your children, think of my children, think of me if I was your mother. Think of the things that you say to me and replace my name with your mother's name. Think of the things that you wish or desire upon these women or these men and replace them with your own children's identities. Would you still be a supporter of that message? And they don't respond to me. They say mean things to me, and when I try to come at them like an adult, like an equal, they say I'm being snobbish or acting like my shit don't stink. I know my shit stinks. All shit stinks. It smells like poop. So I don't in any way believe that my shit don't stink. What I believe is situations are not being handled appropriately. I feel very scared. If you listen to your intuition and your body in any surrounding or environment and you don't feel safe there, but you can't leave, what are you supposed to do? and you don't have an understanding, and you don't even have control over your own next five steps, you know? I don't know. Not for lack of trying, that's most definitely certain, and not because I'm not able or capable. I would challenge anyone to put me into any deemed normal, average, to slightly above average, to even a lot above average environment or set of circumstances, and have, you know, an above average percentage of societal norms taking place. I don't need a play-by-play explanation or instruction on how to act or what to do. But in these demographics, I feel like I do. Like, I feel like I'm waiting on someone to give me a manual of expectation. Like, here you go. This is what we need from you. Because it's like, it's not perceived. It's not implied. It's not, and I feel like I've already said all of this so many times. If you can sense like an overall feeling of dissatisfaction or uncomfortability, but you don't have a direct, or you can have a direct line of communication, but all of your best, honest efforts at communicating effectively are being met with adversity or mean, nasty name calling or all this other stuff, how do you have an expectation of me if I'm asking what's the expectation and you're responding with be and then some vulgar sex demand? Like, what is that? Where am I? What is this place? And for the record, we're in Chicago. You know, I've lived here for a little under 20 years. I don't ever recall this kind of thing. You know, I just don't. And Xavier, why are you refusing to get into the vehicle? And what is causing that? I don't understand. You know, I just don't understand. And it feels really scary. And I miss my children, and I miss my family members, and I miss wearing pants or like a nice, you know, skirt or a dress, like feeling normal. And it just feels weird, you know, all the time. And I don't know, you know, I discussed this yesterday and they cut off my live, but I was saying, I don't know how to even begin regular communication with a person without subconsciously immediately beginning to explain what's going on, like defensively. You know, I feel so uncomfortable with my circumstances and just confused by them that I don't even know how to have social skills anymore. Apart from, hi, how are you? Great, thank you, have a great day, right? Interacting like that. But while I was driving Uber, I was able to have regular conversations. So I don't know what's going on. It feels like it's out of my hands, you know, most of the time. And that's not a good feeling overall. So anyways, I'll check in with you guys later. I hope everyone has